Plato, who all the rest of philosophy is a footnote up on, Plato said, that the key lay in the concepts the good, the true, and the beautiful. The good, what is it? Tricky, tricky, tricky. The true, what is it? Trickier, even trickier. The beautiful, what is it? Easy to discern. The beautiful is easy to discern. You are going to be condemned to live out the consequences of your taste. Really, really. And if you have no taste, God help you, because you are self-condemned to an appalling nightmare. You won't be getting it. All the subtle stuff will go by you, while your head is filled with cant, nonsense, foolishness. So again, the metaphor of the dream and of making choices based on beauty, and beauty is downloaded into the human cultural milieu largely through dreams. Other ideas may also come in dreams, but I think studies have shown that architects, designers, people who are actually at the top of the pyramid in any design process are very aware of their dreams, their reveries, their insights. So that's the way to set the compass, not toward truth, not toward the good, not because these aren't fine things, but because they're so slippery, but toward beauty. And with that in place, to my mind, hope follows as a natural consequence. So the real world political work that Kat and I do is associated with botanical dimensions. We conceived it together many, many years ago, and then about 6 years ago, Kat took it over, put it on its official feet, made it a non-profit foundation, and has run it day to day since then, with tremendous energy and efficiency. So I'd like to acknowledge Kat McKenna here. My better half. In fact, my only good half.
Let's see, I first came to Telluride in 1978 with my new baby, my first child, and my new husband, Terence McKenna, at the time. And we had gotten together, we met way back in the mid-'60s in the Middle East, actually. But we got together in 1975 because that was the year that he and his brother figured out how to grow psilocybin mushrooms at home in your kitchen. And once he figured that out, he said, he never used the word prayer, but he put out a call to the universe to please send him the perfect mushroom mail-order bride. And somehow that, I hadn't seen him in years, but somehow that landed in my mailbox. And with an inquiry, he'd heard where I was living at the time, an inquiry and 5 grams of newly grown mushrooms. And so I took those and read that letter a number of times and saw that my destiny was laid out. But just to make sure, because I had a job, a commitment I couldn't leave for some months, for over 6 months he kept sending me love letters by that time with mushrooms in them.
this trip that I had in Hawaii, I thanked God that somebody was there, that Kat was there specifically, because just the sound of her voice completely ameliorated a whole spectrum of hard to describe but very icky things that were threatening to overwhelm me. And I don't have trips like that very much, where I need somebody there. So it was fortunate that it was like that. But no, I'm not advocating that if you've never taken mushrooms, you go up on a mountain in the dark and take 8 grams. I mean, it might be good for you, but I'm not advocating it, because it might not be good for you, you know. But eventually, you know, Plotinus called the mystical experience the flight of the alone to the alone. And there is something about that. The last dance you do alone. And it can't be otherwise. The main point out of all these statements about drugs and this and that is, you know, if it doesn't scare you, it's not worth doing. And it certainly scares me every time. I mean, I don't want you to think there's nothing heroic about it. It's just terrifying. And it's the only form of terror I will submit to. I will not jump from airplanes. I do not shoot the rapids. I do not rock climb. I'm a bookish person. But I will submit to that terror because it seems to make sense. But it isn't unterrifying. It is exceedingly terrifying. That's where I think it lies. And that's why these questions of abuse and all that can't arise. God, nobody abuses these drugs as far as I can find out, unless they do too little, unless they are 1 grammers or something.